Jim Carella, director of pickleball at TPC Sugarloaf, and we're talking pickleball again, obviously. And American Racket Sports Association is putting this on, so I'm happy to be your host today. The topic today is going to be, can you make a living from just coaching pickleball? I think most of us are still a blend of pickleball and tennis. Unless you're at a major facility like More Than Pickle or Pickle and Social, some of these bigger clubs that are coming up, um, I'm still having to supplement from a personal perspective, tennis with that. And obviously during the tennis season, the Alta season, quote unquote, I am leaning more towards tennis than pickle. Once Alta is done, I'll ramp up more pickleball lessons. So I did do a presentation in Nashville on this. Can you make a living? To the RASPA group there for Tennessee. And I think it's more difficult. I will say I believe it's more challenging. Pickleball is easier to pick up. It's not as technical. You don't have to craft your skills as much, and still can play adequately without having a lot of structure to your strokes, unlike tennis, where you really need more technical expertise on your swing. Um, One of the things that Tim Smith, from director of pickleball at Atlanta Athletic Club, said, his input was that um, the challenge is to find a lane at your facility. In other words, a niche, I would think he's saying, that puts players on the court through league play, events, and 101 tennis lessons. In other words, pickleball lessons, sorry, beginning pickleball lessons. I would agree with him. I think you have to have, I find, a combination of everything. And there are many different streams that you can do. You can do private lessons, group lessons, semi-private lessons, just like tennis. Do a lot of clinics. I still have about 4 hours a week that have been with me, I think 4 or 5 years now. So I do have duration there with my groups. I find that the pickleball camps seem to be the best avenue for me, whether it's a 1 day or 2 day, a half a day. Depends if I'm here at Sugarloaf. It seems to be half a day because everyone is so darn busy. They have trouble doing a 2 day event. And I've been successful being a guest instructor at many pickleball camps around the country. Um, but events also lead into that. So I agree with Tim. You have to have all the components, I believe, um, to be able to be fairly successful making a living from pickleball.
So, if I can jump in, Jim,
Yep.
is Tim making a living coaching only pickleball? Is he also supplementing? I know he's at a platinum club.
Yes. And he's got 8 pickleball courts, which helps because you can do different things. You can do bigger events and so forth. I would have to say at this point, I think he's still teaching some tennis.
Okay.
I didn't speak with him personally, but I think from what I've heard from him in the past. Um, and again, you know, tennis is a different animal than pickleball. Pickleball is more of a park and rec kind of feel, and you can be, like I said, fairly competent on the pickleball court with just a few tips, a few instructional points, and even sometimes no instructional points if you're a decent athlete and a tennis player. Now, that's what makes the game grow so fast because you don't have to go through years of working on your skills like you do with tennis to be able to jump into a league. We couldn't take somebody that played one time on the tennis court or twice and say, "Hey, you're ready for a team. Why don't you go out there and play?" They would not have a happy and successful experience. Where
But
in pickleball, you can.
think that's why the tennis coaches can make a living, is because you need 100 tennis lessons before you can play, and you need consistent tennis lessons to get better. But in this case, trying not to make so many comparisons to tennis, I think is probably a good way to go at this point, and say, okay, pickleball's made a name for itself. Let's pretend it's its own thing. It doesn't always have to be compared to the big brother. So in this case, you say you're supplementing, you're guessing Tim is supplementing, and that's at a private country club perspective. Now, like you said, this is more of a park and rec scenario. If we look at the public facility, but the private public facilities, meaning the Atlanta National Pickleball Club, is Chris Wolf making a living? Probably. Looking at Pickle and Social, is Ross Cottrell making a living? Probably. Now, Ross said to me specifically, he said, if you're the top guy at a club like that, is it a club at a facility, whatever that's called, you can make a living, and that's okay. But if you're assistant or you're just helping out, it's not like tennis, obviously. And I have to go back to the comparison where there are plenty of facilities out there that have 4, 5, 6 tennis coaches, and we get that comparison. But in this case, you can do okay if you're also maybe going multiple places. The question is, in my mind, if you want to be full-time pickleball, you're not just going to be a guy with a couple of tips, or just somebody who got certified yesterday. You're looking at being a high-end coach and really building a book of business. And in that case, it's probably not going to be at a country club where it's much more of an amenity.
Yes, I think what Chris is doing now with this new facility that's coming out of the ground, it's going to be pickleball only, but it's going to be a different feeling. I think it's going to be a high end. It's going to be country club feel, but only pickleball. And we'll see how that goes. I mean, are people willing to pay the money to join? Obviously, when you're a director, he's getting a salary as well. So, like Ross said, if you're the top guy and you have a salary and then you have lessons on top of that, you can make a living. When I was doing independent coaching, we'll call it, up at Cresswinds, which has got 21 pickleball courts. They're now adding 14 more. So it's a huge, yeah, 35 courts they'll have. It's a huge senior community. I actually was grinding out 14 hours on the court in 2 days. I had 7 hours each day I was there. Those are my days off. So, to be fair to Sugarloaf, I was not taking anything away from Sugarloaf. They were on my 2 days off, and I decided, let me see what would happen. Um, so that was amazing to me. And again, I think that's an anomaly, though. I really um, don't know if that's sustainable. So yeah, I mean it's new, it's wide open, it's the Wild West. The people that I see the most successful right now are the ones that are running these camps that are going around the country and actually now around the world. We'll take Frank, for instance.
Good
Just
example.
came back from Switzerland. He was at Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. He's gone over to India. He's actually got something in Park City, Utah in a couple weeks. So he's national and international. Mark Price, it does exclusive pickleball camps. I don't even think he has a home base, to be honest. I think he is all about each week going somewhere or every other week.
If I can ask specific questions there, Mark Price does only camps. If he doesn't have his own place, that's him making a living, meaning every weekend he's in a different city running camps, and that's how he pays the bills.
Yes, I mean, he might have something going on. He's up in Rome, Georgia. Um, he might have a home court there, but from what I see, it's all him doing camps. And I've done several with him, and he's highly successful. He does a 2 and 3 day camp, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, there was, I don't know, 50 people in each camp. So it was quite a lot of people. And I don't think, other than himself and me, uh, anybody else was getting paid. I think he had volunteers to help him, basically.
Okay.
So that was another way he did that. But also now he is supplementing through his sponsorships. And Frank has got his own paddle line. So that's helping him as well.
And Frank's a bit of a different animal because Frank has a job. I mean, he is
Yes.
director of pickleball or whatever he's calling himself in South Georgia. So he's got a facility and a home base, and he has a job that's paying him to be there every once in a while, I guess. So we kind of say, okay, sure, he can go sell some paddles. His paddle probably isn't selling enough on its own to pay the bills, and his camps look like a lot of fun, but going around the world isn't free. It's not cheap. So there's an expense there. And he's got smaller camps. So Frank's more targeted of eight
Hmm.
people per camp or
Yes.
so through a weekend. So he's not Mark Price where he's trying to blow it out in one weekend with 50 people. But he's got a job. He's got a place that's paying him to direct programming. And he's still got his own paddle line and running his own camps and doing those things. So there are some that are making good money just going around the world doing as much as they can, kind of following the hype and saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Are there more than we can think of that are more like a Tim Smith, I would say, that says, okay, I'm at a platinum club and I am director of pickleball and I've got a nice salary, but the salary is because I'm at a fancy country club, not because I'm teaching a whole bunch of pickleball lessons.
Yeah, I would say, having done tennis, Shaun, and pickleball for so long, pickleball not as long, obviously, but tennis, I think as a pickleball professional, whether you're at a club or whatever your situation is, you have to be more creative. You have to juggle more balls in the air. You just can't roll the balls out and teach, 7, 8 hours. I think there's more to it. You have to have events. I think now that Alta has a pickleball league, I think that's going to help. And it has drive lessons. I've noticed my teams when they've come back and gotten just pasted by another team, they're like, hey, I think I need to work on my skills. I've gotten as far as I can on my own. Can you help me? So I think over time that's going to help. Um, but I still think it's a little bit of the Wild West out there. It's so new. And again, the nature of the game, which makes it so much fun too, is that you don't have to have a lot of technical expertise with your strokes. You don't have to have the pedigree like you do with tennis or golf, to where you have to really hone your skill before you can have fun and be successful. I think pickleball, you can have fun right away. And it's a good thing, I think, because it drives a lot of people to the sport. But then also, where as professionals, we're not needed as much in that regard.
Jump into because you were saying the coach needs to be creative, but they need to be more of a manager of programming and be able to generate revenue for the club, for themselves, with events, with play based systems. Because I don't think, as you say, like tennis, there isn't going to be that 20-hour a week base of people wanting lessons, certainly not one on one, but to be able to come up with unique ways to get people on the court and get them to pay for it.
Yeah. And I've got those groups that I've had for a while now, and it amazes me, maybe just because they're having so much fun together with each other. Um, it's been 4, 5, 6 years now where they have their time. They come twice a week with their group, and I have several groups like that. And they just love playing together, and they still take um, pride in growing their game. They're definitely hungry to learn more. And I don't know whether that's the norm or the anomaly. I think it's more of an anomaly. You just don't see that with a lot of pickleball players. And I'm happy I have that because they're having a lot of fun. I'm feeling good about it. And anytime I do, whether it's like we have a pickleball event coming up for Halloween, they're all wanting to sign up. I just had a mini camp last week with another pro. Uh, Armando Perez was helping me, and we did a 2 hour mini camp, 2.5 hours, where we did drills for an hour and 40 minutes, which is a lot of drilling, and 30 minutes of play. And nobody said anything bad about, wow, when are we going to get to play? Because we created the drills to be fun and competitive. So they were taking medicine, but it was disguised so well that they didn't know it. And at the end, the next day or two, they're like, man, my game really has improved. And the way to do it is to drill. And boy, tennis, you can drill. Pickleball, you want to just play. And to get people to really improve their games, you gotta practice. And it's more fun just to play than it is to practice, let's face it.
And in that case, as the professional, you've got to find creative ways to help people do that.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the real target. And then monetizing it is tough. So
yeah,
we've heard some horror stories of, you know what, people play, they don't take lessons, there's no money in pickleball. But I've heard others saying they're doing things 4 or 5 days a week and they're full and charging $20 a person and standing around watching them play and killing it. So
yeah.
I don't know what the real difference is, but like you said, people keep saying it's so new that we don't understand. But there's definitely the formula that has not been figured out yet as to why some are doing well and why some aren't. What else you got, Jim? Or are we done for today?
Well, I think that's about it for me. Hopefully we'll hear from some other people. Tim is actually going to be putting out a survey to all the pickleball professionals, and hopefully they're going to come back with some of these questions that we've got. What are you doing? How much are you charging? Are you successful? And he's going to gather some information, and maybe we'll be able to share that with the rest of the membership once he compiles that information.
I love it.
So,
We had a question at the end is, would you like to be a member of the American Racket Sports Association?
oh, for
Can we
absolutely
add
for
a
sure.
question to his survey? Because I'd love to. We
Sure,
need to get more information about pickleball so
sure.
we can help pickleball. I think that might be a lot of what it is. There isn't a lot of sharing yet. There's not a lot of data to figure out what's going on, and we need more data to help.
Yep, absolutely.